Panel. In a progressive world where men and women have come to the realization that hard power hasn't been of any benefit to either men or women, where this debate comes to the floor, where the principles we are supposed to necessarily defend are hard power and soft power, where government is supposed to defend soft power with this model and opposition is supposed to defend hard power, we believe that our projection on this motion is supposed to be the best for the House at large. So we told you, first argument we advance in this debate is that, listen, the only alternative that opposition would have to run to us is with the use of violence. That is hard power. But then there is something that everyone is supposed to understand in this debate. Asymmetrical wars or conflicts cannot be won. Asymmetrical wars, owing to the fact that they cannot be won, would extend this to the long run that you can never win this. Look, these people are not only fighting because of themselves. These people are not only fighting because of themselves. They are fighting with other visual factors involved, such as the God factor. The person is necessarily fighting, the person's mind is not going to change. Dogmatic people are still going to stay the same. His views are not going to be changed because he knows he's fighting with the God factor. He knows he's doing something that is legitimate and doing something that is right. But clarifying something in this House, the thing in the debate is that significant support has been given, i.e. overwhelming support, majoritarian support in the section. So if it's the not majoritarian support in the section, a classical example is with the Vatican State. The Vatican State can't be put as a Christian caliphate state, which has relations with Italy still. So we do not want them to run the argumentation that in no way can this be sustainable, because this can't be sustainable, as you can see with the Vatican and Italy existing peacefully. The next argumentation we bring to you is that, listen, if this war goes the long, if this violence or this hard power that opposition would want us to propagate goes the long mile, state will lose its capital. If state loses its capital, it's going to be wrong for state. Why do we say it's going to be wrong for state? Now state will be seen as the bad guy instead of these groups seen as the bad guy, because these people are advocating for something that they want for themselves. We know that opposition might also run the argument that there would be a domino effect, but we want to make them understand that there wouldn't be a domino effect with this instance. But even if there is going to be one, we would buy into a model, we would buy into a world where majoritarian views, supposing that this section, the sects that want another caliphate of their own, are the majority. They come with a significant amount. They come with significant support. We are willing to allow them to go with their way and have a caliphate of their own. The next argumentation we want to run to this House is on choice and free will. Panel, why is this very much important? We believe that we live in a world where people are supposed to have their own will. People are supposed to have their own ideologies. People are supposed to behave how they deem best fit. We believe that, listen, a classical example is with Brexit. Objectively, we would say that Brexit was a wrong choice, but then we still made Britain, the Great Britain, take this decision in the long run. We believe that you should give people the right to do what they want. You should give people the right to the choices that they want. You should give people the right to the free will that they so deserve. The second principle that the panel is supposed to note is on the democratic mandate that states have to their own people. Listen, on to the fact that they want this caliphate of their own. As rightfully said in the info slide and the motion, that significant support. They do have the significant support in the motion. Then it's only right that the state panders to this and cowers to this, and the state allows them to have such a sect of their own, because it's not in any way going to be wrong. Or anyway, let me take you.
Why do you think that, despite significant support, Israel would not give Palestine what they want?
Look, Israel is a rogue nation. Mind my words, Israel is a rogue nation. If the world at large comes to a conclusive decision that lets this land be given to Palestine and Israel doesn't want to give it, it means that they are a rogue nation. That is why they haven't given it to them. This comparative doesn't fall in this debate. Listen, if the need be that we grant them the caliphate that they want, whereas there is majority, whereas there is significant support, overwhelming support from that sect, we buy into that model, and in our world we will accept this. But rather, let me give the House a projection that the opposition bench wouldn't want. The opposition bench will be seen as myopic if we want them to buy, if we want to buy their model. What do I bring to this House? I told this House the nature of the conflict that would exist, the use of hard power. And if we go the extra mile of allowing this sect fight with the government, they would get support from rogue nations. Like, this is not the first time that we are getting this being heard, that support has been given to these rogue nations. A classic example is in Russia, where Russia goes into Islamic State to defend on the opposite side of the United States and even the states. Look, when they see that the state wants to oppress another group or anything, or the state doesn't want to give in to demands of a particular group, rogue nations would come to their defense. Imagine a world where rogue nations come to their defense and then they win the war, and then they get their succession, or they necessarily leave and then they become a caliphate of their own. That world is one that will be very much problematic, because one, the state in question, i.e. Nigeria, wouldn't have that same relations with the Boko Haram or whatnot. We believe that with the use of soft power, carrying and not using choice architecture, nudging their minds. Listen, we live in a diplomatic world where we believe that diplomatic relationships are the best method for us. We believe that with the use of diplomatic relationships, we can go the long way of shaping these people's mind, and even if there are minorities that are being oppressed, we can go the long way of alleviating their pain and their struggle. Erasmus.
You see, there's a basis for secession, and to be able to provide significant proof for this to happen, we still have to make the argument here.
The basis for secession. I believe he didn't read the motion and the info slide out loud. Listen, there exists persistent need to secede, if persistent need be. And then they also have majoritarian support. They have significant support, overwhelming support. If that be the case, then what is Erasmus telling this house? Listen, panel at large, there are principles that are supposed to be defended by the opposition bench. They are supposed to defend why hard power is our best bet. But they cannot defend this owing to the fact that asymmetrical conflicts cannot be won. We believe that the best bet for government, the best bet for the world as large, and for such states, and for such a close, isolated system, is that we pander to soft power. Soft power is the only way that we can go far, or we can see to it that diplomatic relationships will still exist. I've given to you about the counter alternatives. I've shown you how we shouldn't be myopic, and if we are going to be myopic and we see that in the long run, if we see in the long run what is going to happen between such states such as Nigeria and the states that would succeed such as Boko Haram, if they have to get support from rogue nations, you cannot communicate with them anymore, and that is going to be bad. If you really want your interest vested, we believe that you have to endorse this. We believe that you have to endorse this and legitimize their caliphate state. That is the only way you can enforce your soft power, because hard power can no longer be used in the system, in the world that we live in. Again, I've never been this proud to come from open government.